Hey guys, this is That's Doable VR, and I noticed that my Immersed video, after MetaConnect had ended, started getting popular, or at least popular for me. Lots of views coming in about Immersed, and I guess looking for people's thoughts on it. So I figured I would make a video finally giving my thoughts on the Quest Pro and what I think about VR, AR, and mixed reality in the workspace, considering that I've worked in a corporate environment, I've worked on the floor at several factories, and I've worked in retail and stuff like that. So, my honest thoughts is it's not looking too good. The reason I say that is because the direction that Meta and God, I freaking hate saying Meta. Point number one. Point number one. Meta does not sound like a cool professional name that you would have inside of a company or any devices that like you're not going to go into for example, I'm out here in the country. You're not going to walk into a place and say, hey, I'm going to go grab my Meta Quest. It sounds nerdy, it sounds geeky, it sounds like something that not a lot of people would want to say or have devices from that company. It should have stayed Oculus. Oculus sounded badass. It sounded cool, and it sounded like something that a lot of people would want to have. Calling something Meta, Meta Quest, Meta Controllers, Meta Universe, Metaverse, or whatever, does not sound cool, and it needs to be changed back. That's my little rant on that. Onto the back onto the topic. When Connect came out, when the conference, is that what they call it? They're calling it a conference or something. When that started, before then, after I had seen the leaks and everything, I was 100% dead set on getting this, even if it was $15. This was based on the leaks that were given out and everything, and I was really looking forward to playing around with this device, learning some coding and 3D rendering and stuff to bring it to the workplace and add stuff into the software that would help me out, help the company that I work for out, and help a lot of people and businesses out in general. I could see schematics being used in there. I could see, AutoCAD being used, which is how you make your diagrams and stuff if you're an engineer. I saw the full potential of this, and it sounded so cool and everything. And then, I knew it was going to be a business headset. But during the Connect conference, at least I feel like I was getting mixed signals. Is this just a casual consumer AR mixed reality device? Is it meant for businesses? Is it meant for gaming? Is it what is it meant for? There was no clear, concise direction at the Connect conference of where this headset was going to be placed in the market. $1,500 again was not an issue for me. Back in the day, I was even enthusiastic about getting Google Glass, which is kind of like this. And back then, I didn't have money, but if I would have had the money, I would have got that too. Until I found out that uh, the screen that it was projecting stuff on was really really small. Nevertheless, like I said, I was fully prepared to buy this, and when MetaConnect came around, I had trouble figuring out who this device was for, and so did a lot of people until I almost felt like it was bots doing this. It was really weird. Um, Everyone all of a sudden in one big yell said, "This is for businesses." Okay, that's cool. I could see the uses for business, but why are we demoing turntables and Beat Saber and all this weird stuff that wouldn't really fit into businesses? Are we expected to believe that companies are going to allow you to put on a headset where you could potentially be actually playing games instead of actually doing your job? That's one thing I didn't think of until now, and I said it. But the main thing for me, though, there's a lot of people that have no. To be honest with me, when you came out of Meta Connect and you saw that and everything, did you feel like you were given an accurate representation of what that headset could do and what its capabilities were? That may have been redundant, but be honest with yourself. Because the clips that I was shown, the little demos that I was shown and that I saw on Reddit and other places really didn't put anything into perspective. A prime example, okay, with the face and eye tracking. There's two things I'm going to talk about here. The face and eye tracking. Something I'm ecstatic for. Really, really excited for. If that's the bulk of the cost of the $1,500, I would okay, that's fine. When when Meta had the opportunity to show this off, what they instead showed us was these kind of Disney Pixar animations of characters, and everything was so smooth and so realistic. And I was like, I honestly at one point suspended my disbelief and was like, oh, okay, this is what it's going to look like. And then there was some woman, I can't remember what her channel was, her name was, but after Connect, she uploaded a short showing the face and eye tracking for a very small time in her short. So yeah, that already tells you how quick this was. And it looked weird. It looked strange. It looked weird on these avatars that Connect has right now. When someone would smile, it would be like it wouldn't be a grid of teeth. It just looked like one block. Like it looked really strange. And then I think there was another video. I don't know if it was by the same woman or somewhere else, but when she was blinking, and I should have known this was going to happen. Hopefully Meta can fix all of this, because if they do, I'll have no problem buying this headset. But when she started blinking, you could see the avatar kind of like the eyelid was just twitching up and down like someone was having a seizure or something, and it looked weird. It looked weird. So the face and eye tracking seems to not be working to its full potential. And with all the sensors and stuff, I imagine that was a large portion of the price. There's no doubt in my mind that Meta hopefully can fix this, but it's not something that I'm going to buy this day one. And it's not something, it's something that takes away so much from it that it's not something I feel like I can buy day one and be confident that it's going to be working correctly. To add to this, and this is a major point, because we're going to get into we're going to get into things like who is this made for and stuff like that. So that's the social aspect. Let's go to the business aspect. Something that was glanced over and wasn't mentioned again until after Connect was done was the abysmal, the shockingly terrible battery life of this device. 1 to 2 hours of use. Now, I can already tell there's going to be tons of you guys out there saying, but if you do X, Y, and I'm going to prove my point here in a little bit. If you do X, Y, and Z, you can extend the battery life, and it actually lasts longer than the Quest 2. Or the second option, which is buy a power bank and stick it in your pocket, and then that'll extend it even longer. This shouldn't be the case at this point. Meta already knew that there was major issues with the Quest 2 battery life. People were buying this. I can tell you from my personal experience that I struggled even picking this thing up for a month or two, because I was like, what's the point of getting into this thing, getting into a game, and then all of a sudden you got to shut it off, or it just shuts off on itself because you don't want to stop playing. You're having a lot of fun. You're not really paying that much attention, and the thing just shuts off because the battery life lasts. It's so short that you can barely do anything. So I went out. I had one before this, but I went out and bought an even bigger one. Plug it. I went out and bought this. This little thick boy right here. This is an Anker. Let me see if I can see the wattage on it. Yeah, this is a 20,000 battery pack. I don't know if it's I don't know how it's measured, but it says it's 20,000. This was $40 added to the Quest 2 price, might as well, because there's no way I can tell you're going to be playing with something like that for a long period of time without it. Or people had to go and buy battery packs, a head strap that came with a detachable battery or something like the Bobo VR. That's how people got around with it. Now, in a business setting, are you going to want this and this dangling from you while you're in a business? Are you going to want that? Now, I'm talking about business right now, and I know a lot of you are. There's a lot of stuff to get or talk about in this. Are you going to? Is this something you do business at work, or is this something that you take home and you work from home with? Would have been really nice to know. But by default, I have to go by what I would imagine the practical use would be. I do not want to be tethered to this walking around an office. I don't. I don't want wires hanging from me in an office. So the 1 to 2 hour battery life is inexcusable when they should have learned from their past mistakes. Inexcusable for a business environment. And it should be inexcusable for any environment because Meta should have learned from this. On to my second point. You can't put a head strap. You can easily, this is the So Arcing head strap right here. $20. You can detach this, put another head strap on. They made it modular. You can add any number of things to this device. The Quest Pro, the schematics that I've seen, you can't do that. You can't take the head strap off because it looks like it's hardwired into the battery pack that's on the back of the headset. So forget taking, the head strap off to add a battery powered one. No, you gotta stick with their head strap, which leaves you with the only option of tethering something to you. The next point. I have seen people in so much denial on how bad this is, the battery life. I'm astounded. All these people that already pre-ordered and got there and it's already on the way and they're about to get it the 25th have been touting this since it's been mentioned. Along with it's for businesses, it's for businesses. And this is shameful on Meta's part. Meta came out after there was a large uproar about the battery life. Meta came out and said, if you disable all the features, if you disable the AR and the eye tracking and face tracking, and you disable this and that, it'll extend the battery life longer than the Quest 2. So, with that being said, they're telling you to disable all the new features most of the new features on the Quest Pro in order to get decent battery life out of it. So then you have to judge it without all the new features. Is it worth $1,500 with all the new features disabled to get a decent amount of battery life? The pancake lenses and, slight improvements, because they're not massive improvements, slight improvements to all this other stuff. The color pass-through, which from the people that I've seen on YouTube that have actually went to Best Buy and tested this, there's a lot of people saying that the color pass-through is pretty underwhelming. Is it worth $1,500 for this? I don't think so. And the fact that Meta is saying, just disable these features. Just disable all these new Pro features so you can get decent battery life. The fact that they're saying that is ridiculous. It's like whoever's on the PR team and who came up with all this has no clue what they're doing. So on from that, because there's no it's like circular logic. What you start out with, it's a device for everybody. Well, then you start finding flaws there. Well, then people decide that it's going to be a device just for businesses. You find flaws there. Oh, well, there's going to be tons of gaming on it. You can play tons of games on it. well, okay, what about the price tag? Oh, well, it's for businesses. And then it's just an endless circle. It's circular logic. It never ends with people trying to justify this. Again, I was rooting for this, but Meta is so vague. Like someone mentioned that they're pulling in Apple, which I've never bought an Apple product and probably never will. They said that they're pulling an Apple and they're saying they're now, instead of giving specific details about their headsets, now they're going with percentages. Oh, there's a 10 billion% improvement in pixel density. There's a 5 trillion% improvement with the thermals inside the stuff that we don't know because we don't have the specs memorized. There's nothing for us to really compare. So far, what I've heard is that the device is incredibly underwhelming so far. And there's a lot of people in denial. The main thing with me, what kills this device immediately for me, why is the battery life so so shockingly small? And why are we expected to disable features in order to get a decent battery life? So let's go back to business because everybody's talking about business. Let's go back to that. The way my meetings are conducted, you show up early, so there's going to be people that show up early. And the meeting lasts at least 30 minutes. But if you're in a big situation, it can last longer than that. When you're working on building something, schematics, or you're looking at 3D models, a lot of times it's going to take longer than an hour or two. Meta has yet to tell us how long this thing is going to take to charge, which is going to be a big deal. Because if it lasts an hour or two and then it takes 4 to 8 hours to charge, well, then you've kind of defeated the point. Business environments are not. It doesn't work like that. You're not, the 1 to 2 hour battery life just isn't going to work. And the people that say that you could sit at a computer and just plug in your headset to your computer, that might be an okay solution, but the whole social thing about it and the whole, what I imagined with this headset was getting up, projecting a schematic onto a table, which you won't be able to do that if you're sitting at a big meeting table and you don't have a computer right next to you to plug your headset in because the battery life's going to drain. I mean, it brings me back to the same point that I had when I first bought this Quest 2. I struggled picking this thing up and even using it because I didn't want to get in the middle of something and then, oh crap, I gotta get out. I gotta leave. So imagine that in a business environment. Imagine that you're in a meeting and you're working on something, and then, oh boss, my headset's about to, and then the screen goes dark, and then you disappear. That means you're gone from the meeting. The meeting's over, pretty much. You're missing out on information. How does this work in a business environment? Because I just don't see it. So go from business, let's go to gaming. There's a lot of people that were acting like this was supposed to be a gaming headset, which not too many people said otherwise. It was supposed to be this big step up. And when you imagine a big step up in VR, you're imagining way better lenses, way better resolution, way better contrast. And what we got with this headset is slightly better this, slightly better that. And unfortunately, with the Quest 3 leaks, it looks like it's going to just be small, incremental, insignificant improvements throughout the years. That's what it's looking like right now. And I'm hoping there's a lot of people that have been suggesting this too, that they're going to do this thing like they do with cell phones, where it's going to be a yearly thing and there's going to be a new headset every single year and you're going to have to upgrade and upgrade. If that's the direction they're going, then someone else is going to get my business, because that is not going to work for me. On the gaming aspect, yeah, playing games in augmented and mixed reality, it looks really, really cool. Looks very cool. But as some people said, the color pass through doesn't look as amazing as they thought. Um, is it really? And again, the price, is it really? If you ignore the price, a lot of this sounds really good. But when you take into account it's $1,500 and I can go buy a 4090 for my gaming computer and get a monumentally better experience through my Oculus 2 to PC VR, I could go buy a way better graphics card and get tons more frames and a smoother experience on my PC. I'm more lenient to the getting the graphics card for PC VR because the the lenses in this are not that bad. The graphics in this are not that bad. Until you start getting, what I'm mainly looking for is a better FOV, which again the Quest Pro barely improves on. That's mainly what I'm looking for. But it seems like Meta, there's a big disconnect between what Meta thinks people want and businesses want versus what they actually want. Meta needs to just drop Meta altogether. They need to stop with the metaverse and the meta this and the meta that and go back to Facebook, Oculus. I mean, just keep it like it was and be more clear in their conferences, because this conference at Connect felt more deceptive than anything. I did not feel like I was given the whole story because I was having to learn so much after the fact. And to learn that their brand new avatars that they were showing off at MetaConnect, where people were jumping and he was like, oh, look at my feet. And it was so cool. And I was like, well, that's neat. We're getting legs. They added CGI after the fact. What? I don't know, guys. I may still buy this headset, but whether or not I keep it, I strongly doubt it. But if I do, I will give you guys a full detailed review on what my thoughts are, and you won't have to worry about me immediately saying that this thing is an amazing piece of technology and it's oh man, I don't like calling out people, but there's so many YouTubers that when something gets released with even the smallest bit of hype, and that goes for games, anything VR related, there's instantly a video and it's instantly praised. There is no real thought put into it. It is immediately the best thing on the face of the earth. And there's so much information on this Quest Pro that got left out. It boggles my mind. I mean, you would be more respected if you came out with a video where you had all the details and you had seen at least something of it and gave and accurately, I don't want to say gave an accurate, or I forgot what I was going to say, but instead of just giving it blind praise, actually critique it, get all the information and give accurate information. So I think I covered almost everything. There may be something I left out, but that's my honest opinions on the Quest Pro. It's if I'm still debating on if I should even bother buying it. But even if I did, there's a strong possibility I would just return it. This thing, I don't know if it's for me. I don't even know if it's for businesses, and it seems like Meta doesn't even know who it's for either. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to play things by ear and see what happens. And I hope for the VR industry, I hope it takes a turn for the better. Because I hope we start getting some competition in here, because we need someone with a clear focus and a clear direction on where they're going and how they're going to implement VR and AR and mixed reality into various aspects of society. So that's my opinion. This is That's Doable VR in VR. Hope you guys have a nice day. Bye-bye.